At this stage, we see no clear evidence that he was directed externally. It does appear that at the last minute, he announced allegiance to ISIL, but there is no evidence so far that he was in fact directed by ISIL, and there also at this stage is no direct evidence that he was part of a larger plot. In that sense, it appears to be similar to what we saw in San Bernardino, but we don't yet know. And this is part of what is going to be important in terms of the investigation. As far as we can tell right now, this is certainly an example of the kind of homegrown extremism that all of us have been so concerned about for a very long time.
Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 1. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones, and I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Yasharallah, and salutation to the Akim throughout the four corners of the earth, preaching the truth and sincerity, and keeping the faith of Yahushai and the gospel. This is Hawa Ya'ala. Just going into, of course, we know what's happened over the last, few days with this whole Orlando false flag attack. And, it's actually just another step closer and closer to martial law and another phase of the step towards their new world order of these wicked elites. Now, I'm just kind of going to go over just a few different, articles and information, as you've already seen, with the video with Obama talking about the attack over there in Orlando. He refers to homegrown extremism. Okay, now that actually is a buzzword. See, a lot of the things that these politicians do, they use certain buzzwords to stick in the minds of the people. And this is a buzzword that they've been actually using when they started what was called the Strong Cities Network, which was initiated at the United Nations. All right, so this is actually something that they're doing to get further and further to locking down pretty much, cities, pretty much primarily in America, but also, certain cities worldwide. Okay, because all hell breaks loose, they want to make sure that they have complete control of the people, all right, and the resources as much as they can. So as you see here, this is the title of this article. This is from the New York Daily News. It says New York joins terror-busting network Strong Cities as activist fear program will target Muslims. All right, now this is Mayor de Blasio speaking at the UN, said New York joined Strong Cities because the group will target intolerance and make the city safer. Because really right now, the only people that's actually standing up right for what is right according to the scriptures is really, the prophets of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. And these devils, they are promoting everything contrary and making it seem like that's actually the good thing, right? They've turned the whole world upside down in terms of its thinking of what is righteous and what is wicked, okay? Because they're the wicked. Now, going into, this, you see here, the date was September 30th of 2015, which is around the time, pretty much during the time of the 70th, General Assembly of the United Nations. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this article. You're gonna see just the buzzwords that come up. It says New York City is joining a new global terror-busting network to try to combat homegrown extremism. All right, that's the buzzword, combat homegrown extremism, which is the same exact words, all right, that the POTUS, the drinking cup, Obama said. A move that immediately raised concerns among civil liberties advocates who fear it will unfairly target Muslims. All right, and now they are going to target Muslims, but that's really just a shield to target us, because what they're going to use these so-called Muslims or the so-called Muslim community or people within their community that are committing terrorist attacks or that they're arming or influencing to commit attacks or blaming, because this is really all a stage and a show for them to do what they need to do to get people to buy into what they're trying to implement, which is eventually going to be all out martial law throughout the U.S. All right, now they're going to use them to get at us. Because even when we're on the block, we always get the saying that we're Muslims. People call us Muslims all the time. People try and say that we're down with Islam when we condemn Islam more than anybody else on the planet, man, through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So what they're going to do is they're going to try and flip it as if other groups of people are also extremists as well, or homegrown extremism. And they're going to basically put everybody under a certain umbrella that is coming up against what these people want to have set in motion, which is basically to establish their own world order of wickedness. So this is part of the game, man. We are not ignorant of their devices. We understand how they operate. They're always going to use one angle, and then the angle is going to lead to something else eventually. All right. Now, it says Mayor de Blasio on Tuesday announced the city's involvement in the program, the first of its kind at the United Nations, along with the U.S. General Loretta Lynch. Now, I'll tell you one thing about the, New York City is the fact that New York City, their police department has actually been doing training for many years, all right, with those Amalekites that are in our land. They've been doing a lot of training for many years. They send New York policemen all the time to Israel to train on how to basically conduct martial law and how to basically interrogate and basically, intimidate, use psychological tactics against people and to basically lock down a city. So they've been training for this for a long time. This is not something that they just came up out of nowhere at the United Nations General Assembly and they just said, we're going to do this. They're actually the first city that was actually doing it. So that's the reason why they spearheaded being the first city joining this group, because they've been doing a lot of this training behind the scenes, which they're going to actually fully implement when the time of martial law comes. And then you go further on, it says Paris, Minneapolis, Rotterdam, Montreal are among the 25 cities around the world that have also signed up for the program. Now remember, at this particular time, it's 25 cities, all right? It says dubbed Strong Cities, which encourages participants to communicate directly with one another about suspicious activity while respecting the fundamental rights of citizens. So that's what people are trying to do. And that's what a lot of people have been trying to do all the time. If we're out there teaching, you're going to have people that are going to come up and they're going to want to basically try and report us to police to try and basically get us taken in. But our hour has not yet come. The word still has to be pushed out. But there's going to be eventually a time when we're not going to be able to push this word no more. And it's going to fall under really the basis of partly under this Strong Cities Network initiative, which is designed to basically, quote unquote, stomp out homegrown extremism, which that's the reason why they're starting to put that buzzword out there. And this thing has happened with the Orlando situation, which basically you go back also to the situation that happened in San Bernardino as well with that attack. So they're basically putting together these different things. Paris, we had attacks in Paris, Belgium, all over these different places where they're basically trying to show the people around the world that, look, you're going to eventually need to get rid of people that think this type of way, that are not thinking in accordance with the New World Order. Now it says here, de Blasio speaking at UN said New York joined because the group will target intolerance and make the city safer. It says the Strong Cities Network will be a message to all families who have lost loved ones because of extremism that something is being done in a new and powerful way, de Blasio said. He also stressed that the alliance would not focus on any one type of extremism, pointedly referenced past violent attacks like the 1994 shootings on Greater Boston Planned Parenthood clinics and racially motivated Charleston, South Carolina shooting in June that killed 9 African-American churchgoers. We will be vigilant against all forms of extremism, whether it's based in religious or racial or nationalistic or ideological intolerance. Okay, so that just lets you know. So it's not just, and they say violent, all forms of violent extremism, which basically what we preach is considered violent. Because you got to remember, our word or the Bible is likened unto a sword. So this is cutting people. This is cutting the government. This is cutting people left and right, especially 2/3 of our people and these heathen. So this is we come up against all this. This is all this right here. What we preach comes up against everything that's written right here. So it's designed to actually, really stop us from being able to push this word. But the word is going to come out, and the elect is still going to get sealed. By the time we get taken, off the streets, or we can't preach no more on the streets, our work is already going to be done on that day. Okay, so you see here a little bit more. It says, but civil liberties activists were nervous the program will mirror other anti-terror initiatives which they feel have unjustly targeted Muslims. Last week, 20 groups sent the mayor a letter asking for a sit-down to discuss the city's involvement with the partnership, expressing reservations about other anti-extremism initiatives like Strong Cities that came out of the Department of Justice. So this is a federal thing. It was started at the United Nations, but really this is federal control over the local municipalities. And that's eventually what they're going to do, because that's what martial law is going to actually do. It's going to allow for the federal government to have full control and jurisdiction over the local and state governments. That's the reason why they're bringing this out, because it's just one of the legislations. Because this devil, he does everything by written form. He's going to write it out, he's going to plan it out, and he's going to just get to that process. And that's what you can see the area in which they're going. Right now, it says the groups, including the New York Civil Liberties Union, the Association of Muslim American Lawyers, and the Justice League New York City, also said they were concerned the cities would eventually become active with the Justice Department's Countering Violent Extremism, or CVE, programs, which they say overwhelmingly target Muslim communities. The concern is that Strong Cities is opening the door to the kind of problematic CVE program we've seen in Boston, Minneapolis, and Los Angeles. And Michael Price of the Brennan Center for Justice, which signed the letter. And that's the thing. You got these Muslims, people that believe in Islam, they're not on the streets preaching against the government, man. They're just basically going to their mosque and going about their daily business, man. So who are they really coming up against, man? First of all, these devils, the CIA, all right, Mossad, they're the ones that created ISIS and are the ones that actually created the doctrine that ISIS follows, and they push forth that upon other people to cause them to be so-called extreme to do these things. We've already said time and time again that we're not going to be the ones that's going to actually be doing the violence, man. We're actually saying that the violence is going to come to America, all right, first via the so-called white man with his military when he shuts down with the martial law, but also via the race riots, which they're creating themselves, and also it's going to end with violence with those thermonuclear missiles. Okay, so that's something that we're not going to be the ones that's going to be doing that. That's going to be set up, by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua to make sure that all those things come to pass. All right, so kind of just, I'm going to just kind of skip this. Pretty much you see the article is going over it. Now you see as before, early on, they said it was about, 25 cities. So I'm going to go further on. This is now June 14th. This is on the strongcitiesnetwork.org. This is their actual page that, puts this together. As far as with this is now talking about the Orlando, Florida situation. So now we're talking about from September 30th, 2015. Now we're fast forward to June 14th, 2016. So now here's the official statement of solidarity with Orlando, Florida by the Strong Cities Network. What do you have? The exact same homegrown extremism that was written in that New York Daily News article, and the exact same words that Obama said concerning, the attack. They said the same thing, those key buzzwords. And they're basically letting you know that they're going to implement more control over the local municipalities, over different cities. And now this is going to be a good way for now Orlando, the people of Orlando, to now give up a lot of their rights and freedoms that they have to federal control. So that way now you're going to slowly see basically that military presence in certain places, potentially. That's something to be on the lookout for if any brothers are in Orlando, so we know that those are the type of things that could potentially happen with an attack like this, just like what happened in Paris, because that's what they did. They started bringing out the military. Now, You go into it, it says here that with we, the mayors, governors, and local authority leaders of the Strong Cities Network are deeply saddened, shocked and saddened by the horrific attack that took place in the city of Orlando this week. Now, these mayors, governors, and local authority leaders are talking about the ones from the other cities that have already been in the Strong Cities Network. So now this is part of that, getting them on board with it too. It says, we wish to convey our deepest sympathy and condolences on behalf of our cities in this difficult time. Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims' families and all those who lost loved ones in this senseless attack. Those who perpetuate hate, okay, because that's what they're saying that we're doing, that we're perpetuating hate, but this is really an act of love, okay, that we're basically bringing out this word, So that's what they're putting out here, those who perpetuate hate. So it doesn't matter if someone is actually taking up arms, just speaking against this wicked kingdom, all right, this wicked queendom, all right, because this is the place of Babylon the whore, is actually considered a bad thing. Violence and terror seek to divide us, destroy lives and families. And see, the dividing is coming by the sword, all right, just like Yahweh Shai said, I am not come to send peace but a sword. All right, so that's what we're doing right now. There's a dividing line of separation, all right, between, those that want to stand up for the truth and those who don't. And that's basically what's happened since the word has been coming out, So destroy lives and families, sow hate and fear in our communities. Hey, that's why it says in the scriptures, all right? Knowing therefore the fear and terror of the Lord, we persuade men. So that's what we're doing. We're instilling fear, all right? If you want to say we're fearmongers, we instill fear. Right? Because we understand what's coming according to the scriptures and undermine the values for which we stand. And guess what? You stand on false values. You stand on values with nothing but wickedness. That's the reason why one of the values that they stand upon is just to show is that America was down with the wickedness that was going on at that club called Pulse with them sodomites. And they want to put that on the people, man. They want to put that on everybody, man. And the vibration of that is so heavy that it's damn near getting to people to where those people that are out there, that they feel like they damn near have to be effeminate or damn near gay just to survive in this society. And who are they putting that vibration on? Jake more than anybody. Our greatest asset is our resolve, our unity, our respect for one another, and our solidarity with friends around the world. Which, what is that about? Our resolve, our unity, respect for one another, solidarity. Words like unity, solidarity deal with one. It deals with one world order, and that's what they want to do, a new world order, all right, with basically nothing but wickedness being exalted, all right, at its highest level. We are united in our solidarity with Orlando and its citizens and stand together with our communities committed to doing everything in our power to prevent this kind of tragedy. Then it goes over the different lists of some of the member cities, all right, and they kind of added more. So they got different cities already on board, and I'm pretty sure, that Orlando's probably going to be on board soon, if not already. All right, now this is going back to June 6th. Now this is just, a few days before the attack. Secretary of State John Kerry gives support for Strong Cities Network at the Global Summit. Okay, now when you go through it, it says here that the Strong Cities Network, run by London-based Institute of Strategic Dialogue, okay, so you see there, man, that even goes back really to the bankers, because now this thing is coming out being based in London. And we know that London is really really more the financial capital of the world, because that's really where, a lot of your banking families, that's where they stay, that's where they reside, that's where they make a lot of their decisions for global control over the economics of these different countries. All right, so brought together key stakeholders for the first Strong Cities Network Global Summit, which took place in Antalya, Turkey, on the 11th and 12th of May. So they go over the different areas. I actually have a video, which I'll just go through the video transcript real quick, but I'm gonna just read this real quick for y'all brothers as well. It says this SCN Global Summit brought together more than 200 delegates to discuss the role of cities, towns, and regions in countering violent extremism in all its forms. Right, so who knows what this could be? We don't know how this is really going to roll out, but eventually they might try and do a a potential posse comitatus. They could basically have different people that they would just basically able-bodied men that they would put into action, equip them, train them to basically help take down people that are considered, enemies of the state, all right, or enemies of the New World Order. So, who knows what they're trying to do, but this is a worldwide initiative that's going on, all right? So it says in total, 62 cities drawn from 39 countries in every major global region were represented. So now you got 69 cities. So it's been growing. Accompanied by top-level national and diplomatic representatives and delegates from multiple NGOs, multilateral organizations, and the private sector. All right, so, it's kind of, I don't want to kind of go make this too long. I'll put the link in the description box as well so brothers can, get to it. But this is basically the words of John Kerry that he spoke over there in Antalya, Turkey. Okay, so let's go to the second paragraph. He said, unity is essential. Unity is essential in countering violent extremism. We all know that terrorists can emerge in any country, and the lies they propagate can rapidly circumvent national borders. So they're calling what we speak lies. But this is what they're doing is actually the true lies. All right? Hey, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. They got the true lies, man, which we've been able to expose, all right, through the Spirit of the Lord. So, and the lies they propagate can rapidly circumvent national borders. Oh, and that's the reason why the word has been known to go throughout the four corners of the earth, man. And that's what it was said in the scriptures, that the word, all right, shall go to the four corners of the earth, and then the end shall come. And that's basically what has happened. That's what they're scared about. And that's what they realize, that this message has gone completely global. Now we got brothers waking up in South Africa. We got brothers that woke up in the Philippines. We got people that woke up in different areas of the world. Brothers that basically have traveled to other places. They might have heard it here. They might have been, stationed somewhere. They might be living in another country. They go and bring out that truth over there. So now it's gotten to the point where the word has basically now reached across national borders. How does that happen? Through the unicorn, man. Through the internet, we've been able to now push this word throughout the four corners of the earth, man. And that's a beautiful setup that the Most High made. That actually allowed the word to go out quicker and to be sealed quicker, and to seal the elect, at a more rapid pace, because a lot more people are able to be reached at one time and be able to be reached 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All right. So, when you go further on, it says through global gatherings such as the summit, regular regional workshops, and constant exchange of information and ideas, the Strong Cities Network can help us to implement best practices in responding to a threat that endangers us all. Now, remember, these are the words of Kerry. Remember, Kerry is the Secretary of State, so he has to do his part to push this stuff out here. It says the summit on May 11th featured dramatic testimony from the survivors of terrorist attacks, from former members of violent extremist groups. You might have sellouts, man. You might have people that might have been in the truth, that they're going to basically say, well, look, you're part of the Hebrew Israelites, you're part of a violent extremist group, and then they might take deals to basically go and start getting in some of these type of meetings and stuff to basically find ways to combat and take us down. All right, that's the reason why we got to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove, man. Because this is the type of stuff that's being set up. But at the end of the day, the Most High is going to be, he's going to come out on top regardless, because this is his whole setup. All right, it's not our setup, it's his setup, and guess what? If we flip to the back of the book, he wins. All right, and the elect wins as well. All right, now, and from municipal leaders who have held their communities together despite efforts by radicals to sow division. All right, which we're considered radicals, because radical goes back to the word radish. When you look at the word radical, it means root. All right, so root, meaning we go back to our roots, man. We go back to the beginning of time, right, when the proper order was set up, and that's what we want to have back established. So that shows up division, because we're completely going up against, all right, these devils, man. These elite Edomites, starting with them Amalekite Khazar banking families, and we're sowing the division in their New World Order plans. And out of that, we got people that are waking up, man. We got the 1/3 of our people that's starting to wake up, the men of the elect, right? And, you know, even some women as well that are starting to wake up to what's going on and seeing that this place is on its way down, and the people are starting to change their ways away from the ways of this world, man. Okay, so it says the message conveyed was a powerful one of determination, resilience, and commitment to pluralism and respect for the rights and dignity of every human being, except for a man who believes on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. That's the one person they definitely don't respect. But see, these people are going to really learn the hard way that the people that they so trust in for leadership and protection are going to be the same ones that's going to be out to destroy them and their families. And then they're going to realize that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is not to be mocked. All right, so I'm going to skip this part, you know, because this is just trying to keep it a little bit shorter. All right, this says here, this is the Strong Cities Network is also, as the name implicates, bringing some of our great urban centers together to share lessons learned through the exchange of personal and comparison of past experience and current challenges. The government of Denmark, for example, has set up the exchanges with the cities of Amman, Beirut, and Tunis to help build capacity for countering violent extremism in critical areas. So you got these other Edomite, strong, countries like Denmark that are going up to other places to basically help them set up different aspects of control. Now the last paragraph says, I encourage the leaders of all cities and subnational governments who have joined the Strong Cities Network to participate actively in its efforts. And I ask those who have not yet joined to consider doing so. So that's the reason why they had these terror attacks, because now when they make those calls, those other cities and leaders are going to get on board, especially if they have terror attacks. That's going to influence the people. That's part of the deception, to influence the people to give up their rights eventually. You see right now, you got people that are bugging out. Now they're going to have security at all these different events. They got now security at all these so-called gay clubs. All right, they're probably going to have when they have their gay pride parade, they're going to have probably massive security. All right, for those sodomites to make them feel safe. So they're basically calling in what they actually want, because these people are damn near going to beg for martial law on the chip with the way things are going to be. Just like what's going on down there in Venezuela. The amount of people that are probably begging for protection with how bad it is out there, they want probably extra protection because they can't protect themselves. And that's the whole point of them getting people to submit themselves completely to this New World Order. It says, by making that choice, you will plug into a rapidly expanding campaign to attack the root causes of violent extremism, which they believe the root causes is what is being said and spoken, all right, especially through the internet and of course on the streets, because that's the reason why you had what happened with the European Union. They made those deals with those different companies, primarily Google, the Twitters, your Facebooks, to basically now start to combat what is being spoken, right, by people. And they're basically relegating what can be said and what can't be said, and that's what they're starting to do. More and more, they're going to start doing that because they believe that that's the root cause of what is against their New World Order. All right, so just going to kind of just leave that as it is. Hopefully this is edifying. Brothers can see the bigger picture. Hopefully, this thing happens quickly, man, and all hell breaks loose, man. And Abba Rataza, we're sealed, we're part of the elect. So again, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Yasharallah, and salutations to the Akim throughout the four corners of the earth, preaching the truth and sincerity, and keeping the faith of Yahweh Shai and the gospel. Shalom.